In the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's trial, the most damaging testimony for Johnny's case so far is Amber's sister Whitney. More precisely, the part where she claims that she saw Johnny smacking Amber's face repeatedly. But you're about to find out why her recollections make no sense. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and it would be great if you join us by just liking this video, subscribing, and hitting that bell. Let's get down to it. This statement is about the staircase event when Amber was allegedly defending Whitney from being thrown down the stairs. What makes Whitney's statement so critical is that she's the only witness that claims to have seen Johnny hitting Amber, because nobody else has been able to claim that. And this is a clip where she makes that statement. Make sure you also pay attention to Johnny's reaction, because it will be important later on.
But by that time, Johnny had already grabbed Amber by the hair with one hand and was whacking her repeatedly in the face with the other as I was standing there. Travis pulls them apart. I get Amber into mine. I close the doors behind me.
Every witness that Amber's attorneys have called to testify just repeat the same claims. Johnny's intoxication with drugs or alcohol, but no actual physical violence. But Whitney's unique statement stands out for very precise details that very quickly reveal contradictions. Like other channels such as My Paul and The Signor have stated, when you compare Whitney's recollections with Amber's from the same event, they just don't match. Make sure you picture the scene in your head.
There, I'm at the top of the stairs with my back to the stairs, and that's when Johnny runs up the stairs. And again, I'm facing Amber. He comes up behind me, strikes me in the back.
And now listen to Amber talking about the exact same moment. Again, picture the scene in your head.
All of a sudden put herself in between Johnny and I. Her back was to the staircase. Johnny swings at her back to the staircase, and Johnny swings at her, and I don't even wait.
Well, the first thing that you might have noticed is that the two sisters speak in different emotional ways about this. But let's focus first on what they said. Whitney says that she's on top of the stairs, facing Amber, and Johnny runs up to her. Then, quote, strikes her in the back. Pay attention to the words used because they will be important later on. Now, Whitney herself stated that the times that she was sober were rare, so that could explain how she couldn't sense someone running up to her. Running up the stairs is no easy task, and it's noisy. You will have more than enough time to react. But according to Amber, quote, all of a sudden, Whitney put herself in between Johnny and I. But wait, wasn't Whitney in danger of falling down the stairs? How can that happen if she's between two people? So Amber, in less than 10 seconds, exposed herself, saying that Whitney was between them, and thanks to some very weird physics, she also was in danger of falling down the stairs. You know that if you commit perjury, you go to jail, right? Now, there's something even more interesting. Let's listen to Amber's recollections of the same events 6 years ago. As usual, picture the scene in your mind.
He was about to push my sister down the stairs. She was attempting to break us up. I am protective over my baby sister. When he laid hands on her, I don't know what I did, but I know I jumped in between the action.
Say what? Wait a minute.
He was about to push my sister down the stairs. She was attempting to break us up.
I'm at the top of the stairs with my back to the stairs. He comes up behind me, strikes me in the back.
He was about to push my sister down the stairs.
He comes up behind me, strikes me in the back.
Now, I'm gonna say something that must be illegal, but here it goes anyway. Even if this was expressly forbidden by the judge, the jury should watch these comparisons back to back. Because with so much fluff of pre-recorded and boring witnesses, I doubt they will have energy left to make these connections. To make things even worse for Amber, listen how she recalls how did they get into that position in the first place.
All of a sudden put herself in between Johnny and I. She just threw herself like in the line of fire or whatever. She just all of a sudden was there and was trying to get Johnny to stop.
Yeah, I didn't tell you to picture the scene in your mind because you wouldn't be able to. All that she does is gesturing, stuttering, and gives no details whatsoever about anything. She doesn't mention Johnny running up the stairs, but she does mention that Whitney was trying to make Johnny stop. Stop what? Amber isn't even precise about this supposed aggression. Now, back to Whitney's testimony. There are more than a few signals that suggest her statement was heavily practiced and rehearsed beforehand. Notice the time she takes to answer the following question.
I'm going to take you to April 21, 2016, Amber's 30th birthday party. Were you present for that?
I was.
Can you please describe to the jury what you observed that night?
It was her 30th birthday, so we wanted to make it, really special.
She barely needed time to think the answer. Obviously, this happened when it was Amber's attorney asking the questions. You notice that the time between the question and the answer is so small that they must have rehearsed her testimony beforehand. When you listen to a question that refers to a moment in time, your brain first has to jump to that moment, assess the memories and emotions associated to that moment, and finally organize how are you going to answer. If you notice that someone answers this quickly, it's because they have already done this process. They have practiced. Why is it relevant to know that she could have practiced her testimony before taking the stand? Because that's when we go back to the first clip, when she was saying that she saw Johnny hitting Amber. And you can't help but notice something interesting with Amber's attorney at that precise instant.
But by that time, Johnny had already grabbed Amber by the hair with one hand and was whacking her repeatedly in the face with the other as I was standing there. Travis pulls them apart. I get Amber into mine. I close the doors behind me.
Yeah, Elaine Bredehoft, part of Amber's legal team, was nodding repeatedly, almost enthusiastically, as Whitney recalled the events. She looks like a mom at a school presentation that nods and even moves her mouth when they see her son on the stage after practicing so much at home. That's the body language of someone confirming that someone is acting as directed. And what a coincidence that it was this part of the testimony so damaging for Johnny. And speaking of Johnny, I told you to pay attention to his reaction because throughout the whole trial he has kept a calm and collected attitude. As you can see, this really caught his attention, and for a very good reason. It's no secret that he helped Whitney overcome what Amber has been doing to her through all these years. So you can imagine how he could feel looking at her saying this. If the smack in the face had really happened, Johnny would have been the first to expect that Whitney was going to reveal that. But he was actually surprised because his eyebrows even went up for a brief instant. The only explanation of Johnny reacting this way, actually surprised, is that the smacking never happened. He never hit Amber in the face. It must have a truly heartbreaking moment for him to realize that he has been surrounding himself with so many toxic personalities for years. But this is about to get even more messy with the fact that Jennifer Howell, a woman who claims to be friends with Whitney, recently surfaced online. Howell's declaration highlighted Johnny and Amber's staircase fight and that infamous finger injury. Howell claims that Whitney told her that Amber was violent and abusive towards Johnny, the exact opposite of what she said in court. I'm gonna be fully live streaming the final week of the trial in all my social media channels, so subscribe and hit that bell if you don't want to miss it. And if you want to refine your observation skills, all you have to do is download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas and it will always be a pleasure, my body language buddies. Much love and bliss.